Thanks for joining me. I want to talk to you about something that I posted online recently on the good old Instagram. I posted a question. Well, I posted a quote and then asked people to give me their feedback on it. What did it mean to them? What were their thoughts about this quote? Um, and the quote was it was more of a statement than a quote itself, I guess, but it said, "The path to better sex is to do the dishes." And then I'd simply ask people, "What are your thoughts on this? What does this mean to you?" And the feedback was it was great. It was a lot of mixed, pretty same theme type stuff, a lot of mixed responses though. Things from like helping your partner is the sexiest thing you can do for them. Um, if my partner ever did the dishes, he might actually get some. Um, Many busy married women have a language of acts of service. Help with things that I might normally do without having to be asked to is very helpful. And when I feel like some things are taken off my plate, I feel more prepared and ready to then like be ready to engage or have sex with my partner. And then another one said, the path to greater sex is providing emotional safety and security, not doing the dishes. So, um, I agree with all of those things. I agree with all those responses. They're really great. Now, let me break this down and walk through with you um, what this is about and what it means. Because, so let's just think about that statement again. The path to better sex is to do the dishes. Now, you get very literal on this thought, and it's like, okay, yeah, great. If I just do the dishes, I'm getting some. There we go. Easy peasy. No, that's not what it's talking about. And so let me tell you where this comes from. It's from Ari Tuckman. He is a psychologist and specialist when it comes to ADHD. He's an author, a researcher, like all sorts of marriage work. But marriage work when it comes to one or both people in the relationship having ADHD. So there's a lot of little qualifiers to this. I think it still applies to marriage in general and relationships in general, but I want to break this down a little bit for you because the responses were great. And especially that one that said, no, no, sex is not about just getting the dishes done. Better sex is about safety and security inside your relationship. So, this statement itself, when Ari Tuckman said this, it's a generic example, an analogy, right? Of something that's much bigger than that inside the relationship. It's bigger than that. It's about sharing household duties. It's about feeling this sense of unity and partnership within your relationship. It's about relationship satisfaction, and doing the dishes is just a behavioral kind of example or thought about attentiveness and being in tune with your relationship and partner. But really, the message is about this underlying theme and a deeper concept about the importance of dependability, safety, security, all these things inside of the relationship, which are absolutely brought about from those things um like following through on your word, like doing the things you say you're going to do, like cooperation and communication and these other types of things. So I want to break down maybe just like the hierarchy inside the relationship. And this is just Craigism on the spot, like being the thought. I wrote down some of my thoughts on paper that I'm going to share with you here. But really, it's looking at the relationship in this way, and it's just, again, it's just one way right now that I'm sharing with you. There's much more. There's other concepts out there. There's like Gottman sound relationship house theory. Like there's all the other ways to look at this, but this in relation to this thought, what Ari Tuckman said and the responses that I received in this thing, let's break it down a little bit more. So there are many ways to look at these different relationships and like sex, and not just physical and sexual intimacy, but all other areas of intimacy within your relationship. When we start from the very top of these things, so safety and security at the top, think about it that way. So like the thing that is like, let's get to this thing inside of our relationship, and ultimately that's where better sex will be found, is absolutely, like that one comment said, safety and security. Yes, so let's go with that. So safety and security is at the top. And if we're kind of going like, what's just underneath that, meaning what is present or accomplished to help us get to that safety and security feeling, it'd be, in my mind, is like trust and reliability. So trust and reliability, you get that established in your relationship, you work on that, then you're creating this safety and security. Now, how do you get trust and reliability? So let's go down a tier. That's where, to me, this word, and I think this word is very important, dependability. Dependability inside of your relationship. Now, dependability leads to that sense of security. And trust in that second tier leads to the feeling of safety, right? If trust is there, safety is felt. If dependability is there, security is felt. So dependability on what? A partner can, when somebody is dependable in their relationship, their partner can look at them with a sense of like, I guess, confidence, right? That their partner is going to fulfill commitments and promises. They're going to be present. They're going to provide support. They're going to be there during challenging times. Like dependability, right? I look to my partner and I say they're dependable. These are the things that are coming up in my mind. And I'm going to tell you more about how to actually become dependable in your relationship, in your life, really, just as a person. But it ultimately will help not just your most intimate relationship, but your relationships around you. So we've got the dependability, excuse me. Now, there's also, when we're going after this sense of security, you want to feel secure in your relationship. There's security or a sense of like feeling secure with your partner when they are helping you to feel more comfortable as you share openness and vulnerability. You know, you're giving your like vulnerable thoughts and your feelings and your experiences in life, and they're like present and they're listening and they're engaged and they're supportive. When these things are happening, that's where another sense of security comes from. So all of these things are really building up and up and up and up into this sense and this experience of, I feel safe and secure inside my relationship. And when I feel safe and secure in my relationship, I feel more open and willing and connected emotionally, spiritually, physically, sexually. And that's where the better sex comes in, is through those feelings. Yes. Okay. So where does this dishes come from? Where does this doing the dishes come from? Okay. So when it comes to being a dependable, right? That source of like, I look to my partner and I see somebody who's dependable, meaning I know they're going to follow through on their commitments and promises. I know they're going to show up present physically and emotionally for me. I know that. I feel that. That's a dependable person. So that's where you want to get to, because dependability builds into that trust, which builds into that. So trust and reliability, which builds into that safety and security. Okay. Become dependable. Here's how. Number one, keep your promises. Keep your promises. If you are saying, this is a thing that I'm going to do, this is who I am, and I say I'm going to follow through on something, I will call that place, I will schedule those things, I will all of it, right? That's what I mean by it. And I'm going to follow through on that thing because that's who I am and that's what I do. It's one of my favorite like little sayings these days is like, that's who I am and that's what I do. It's like this whole identity thing when it comes to just showing up as a value driven person. So keep your promises. Number one. Number two is that reliability factor, right? Be reliable. Be there when your partner needs you. Be there in their celebratory moments, be in there in their hardships, in their times of joy, in sorrow, in sadness, in celebration. Like be there, be reliable. Number three, communication. This is huge. And I recently just completed a communications course, which you can find on my website. I cover it all in this communication course. I'm sure I didn't cover it all, but it is loaded. It is loaded. That is a jam-packed um, practices, theories, evidence-based stuff, marriage, non-marriage, like all sorts of things, conflict resolution. That communication course is loaded. So check that out and make it a part of your relationship and just your life. It's loaded. Okay. So communication, huge. Being open and honest in your relationship, in your communication, that really builds into this whole idea of trust and reliability, which we know brings that safety and security. Number four, be a supporting partner. Support your partner. Provide that emotional support, that encouragement. Be their cheerleader. Again, in this communications course, I talk about who do you need me to be for you right now? Think about that question. Who do you need me to be for you right now? And when we can work on this kind of communication and being in tune with our partners, we know they need me to be the listener. They need me to be the cheerleader. They need me to be the encourager. They just need me to shut up and listen. When you can get really good at that, you really bring that sense of safety and security to your partner. So number four is be a supporting partner. Number five, be consistent. Consistency trumps intensity all the time. Don't just have little spurts of like being an on fire partner where you're showing up and it's like I clean the house for the whole weekend and then you don't do anything for the next month, right? Like I followed through on my commitments this week and then I don't for another 2 months, right? Be consistent in the way you do this. It'll help your partner to feel more secure than ever when they can look to you and go, that's a consistent person in my life, in our joint efforts, in our kids' lives, in our house chores and duties, all those things. Number six is respecting your partner's boundaries. Honoring their needs demonstrates that you can be trusted uh, to consider their feelings and their individuality, right? Like this is we're just separate people coming together in these relationships. So you still want to honor and respect and love and build up this individual person that you're in a relationship with. And here comes the dishes. Number seven, becoming dependable in your relationship, in your life, is showing up in the practical ways. Now, this is so broad, but this is where all those little things that truly do matter, this is where they start to show up. Be there for your partner in the practical ways. Help with the household chores, running the errands, being present for the important events. It reinforces your sense of dependability. It gives your partner that confidence in you that, hey, when things need to be done, they get done. I don't always have to ask. Another thing in ADHD and marriage and relationships that gets brought up is this like parent-child dynamic with each other as your partner. So if I have to be like, hey, please do the dishes, like that's so unsexy. That is so like undesirable inside of a relationship. So if you can be that reliable and dependable person who like when you see something that needs to be done, you do it. So doing the dishes is not literally the way to a better sex life, but all these other things really builds up into that. I'm dependable. And when I'm dependable, then I create this sense of trust and reliability. And when there's trust and reliability that's present, there's safety and security inside of our relationships and inside your partner's heart and in their mind and their soul. And when those things are present, you absolutely have a much better sex life. So there you go, broken down out of the literal sense and into this much more broad concept of how you can just show up better in your relationships to create a stronger sense of unity, togetherness, sexual connection, intimacy, all the things. I hope this was helpful for you. I'd love to hear your feedback, what you took away from it. Challenge me on some things. I don't know. Let's have a discussion, but I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the engagement and interaction all the time on this platform. And I will see you again and again.